Hi and welcome to The Winning Factor. I'm Alan Aitken, and on this show each week we take a look at some upcoming races in Hong Kong and try to isolate an angle of the race that gives us the path to finding the winner. Well, Group 1 racing once again on Sunday at Sha Tin, the Centenary Sprint Cup featuring the world's top-rated sprinter Lucky Swainess. Certainly plenty of information on that race around the Hong Kong Jockey Club website, interviews, form, track work, everything you need to unlock the Group 1. I'm going to deal with a couple of the support races, however, and the first of them is Race 4, where our winning factor is the map. Now this has a few with chances engaged, and I think primary amongst them will be Happy Daily dropping back into Class 4 with Hugh Bowman. War of Courage has a chance. Perfetto was back into some form last start, running on for second, and Smart Fighter and Celtic Times will have plenty of fans too. But I'm looking most closely at the rides of Hugh Bowman, that's Happy Daily, and Zach Purton, Celtic Times. And they both had their most recent starts on the same day. Firstly, race 302, and in gate 9, blue colours, Celtic Times begins okay, but is soon outpaced as we see War of Courage in red and white, and out wider in red colours Super 10 and Smart Fighter in white colours, all surging forward for the lead in what becomes a strongly run race through the middle sections. Now, Hugh Bowman rides Celtic Times here, and he isn't flustered as he drifts back, knowing these leaders are doing too much and are going to get tired later in the race. And that's what happens. In the straight, Celtic Times runs on well, but he finds one just too good on the day. Now, 2 races later on the same card, we saw Happy Daily, and this was his most recent offering in Class 3. And we saw him a lot closer than we're used to seeing this horse because he normally does miss the start. This is race 304. He's in gate 6, green and yellow. And as you can see, although he's often slow to jump, this time Antoine Hamlin gets him out well and has him straight on the back of the pace for a change. Though it might not have been the ideal race to do that because there was quite a competitive pace for the first half of the event. Now the leaders do get to that 700 metre turn and back it off, but then they sprint home again, and Happy Daily sticks on for 4th, but it probably wasn't the style of race that really suits him the best. Now Happy Daily drops down a grade to Class 4, but he also moves out to a much wider gate, gate 12. And the questions on the map for this race, well, they have to include whether Happy Daily will again jump or revert to his usual ways at the start. And also, will he get the kind of pace that would suit that style? So in the earlier replay, we saw War of Courage, Smart Fighter and Super 10 really turn that race into their own little contest for the front and setting a fast speed. And here they are all again and drawn very similarly. Perhaps they'll do the same and put the pace right on. That would certainly suit Happy Daily. Perhaps their riders will be wary of repeating that scenario though, because it doesn't give their own horses much chance. I suspect the latter is more likely, but I think they're still going to make for a true tempo. But the key difference on the map, Happy Daily's move from gate 6 to gate 12, even if he jumps, he's likely to get a long way back in the field, while Celtic Times is going from gate 9 to gate 1, and I think that puts him closer in running to the speed, even without having to spend any petrol to get there. So the tip in race 4, Celtic Times. His winning factor, the map. Now, I think of these 2 strong chances, the fact that he's going to be able to hold a more forward position this time than Happy Daily, fast or slow pace, I think that's an advantage for Zach Purton's mount. The second race I want to take a look at is race 5, and our winning factor here, the Goldilocks spot. So this is a Class 4 Cup race, but I'm really focused on just 2 runners here. Flying Mojito from the David Hall yard and Beato, Zach Purton's mount for Tony Cruz. And both these horses had their latest run on the same program, but in very different race shapes. First of all, Beato, who with the addition of Zach Purton was able to throw off his habitual slow starts and got out of the gates well. This is race 338. He's in black and white, gate 5. And Beato, actually jumping well, wasn't helped by getting buffeted from horses either side of him. So he did initially get back a little bit, and then his race goes to hell. The pace isn't strong, and Beato pulling his way up 3 wide outside the leaders, and not a lot that Zach can do, but fight him there because he's doing all that extra work, and then has to go again when a horse comes around and the sprint does go on from the 700 metres, and as a result Beato left with nothing in the final 200 metres. Well, that was a horror show, yet another horror show for Beato as favourite. He's a horse who's looking like he needs a specific set of circumstances to get the job done, and he certainly didn't get it there. A little later in the day, we saw the latest offering from Flying Mojito in Class 3. This is race 342. He's in yellow colours from gate 9, and jockey Keith Young gets him out okay and rides him along, but others here have too much zip for him, even though we see on the heat map the pace is just steady. He's past midfield in a race that ended up dominated by those horses up the front, but does apply himself well in the final stages to run on and be just behind the placings. Now he drops a grade here to Class 4 and goes up to a distance that he likes and from a better draw. And when we take a look at the map, this is a situation where I'd expect he's going to be, well, much closer to the leaders in the run in a race that, like Beato's last run, doesn't look to have a lot of pace in it. Now, I do think we'll see Horse of Good Luck and Gallant Crown as the most likely leaders from the outside half of the draw, but I don't see them setting much of a speed, and we saw how difficult that was for Beato to handle last time. And there are other reasons to think that this is the race for Flying Mojito. Certainly the step up in distance is all in his favour. He's had 6 starts at 1600 metres for 2 wins and 3 seconds, an outstanding record. But he also sees Luke Ferraris team up with the David Hall yard, and that has a little bit of history to it. Now, Ferraris hasn't had a winner for Hall this season, but as you can see here, since Luke's arrival in Hong Kong in 2021, he's been one of the go-to riders for the Hall stable for runners in the market. In fact, if I expanded this to show you all runners at all odds, it has a similar look to it. Yes, Ferraris is ranked behind Zach Purton and Hugh Bowman in riding winners for Hall, but he is a rider who flies under the radar and performs ahead of the market odds. And as punters, we're happy about that. So the tip in race 5, Flying Mojito. His winning factor, the Goldilocks spot. I think this is a race that offers Flying Mojito absolutely everything that he really wants. He's got a good map, he's got a drop in class, he's up to the distance he prefers the most, and we even see the added bonus of David Hall going for one of his main riders in Luke Ferraris. Well, that's it from the winning factor this week. Enjoy the Group 1 on Sunday. We'll see you next time.